Hey guys, Marmalade here. I put this video together called 10 Things I No Longer Bring Backpacking, and I thought this might help some other people. Remember, this is all personal and individual, but these are 10 things that I either no longer carry or I switched out to something that worked better. And I know this always helped me out when I was new, so hopefully this will help a few people out. So let's get started with item number one. Okay, so item number one I do not have with me currently, but I'll show you a picture of it here in a minute. But it is the Gas Saver Plus Lindell Valve Canister Shifter. It's made by G-Works, and I got it on Amazon, and it was about $35. So here's a picture of it right here. So if you don't know, what this does is it's got two threaded ends on it. The theory is while you're on trail, it's more for like a through hike. Like if my canister is getting low and I find another canister in a hiker box, I can put my old canister at the bottom, put this other one there, and I can actually bleed out some of the gas and get free gas into my can. I got it right before I left. Didn't even get a chance to try it or anything. And when I got to Warner Springs, which is at mile 109.5, I got there in 7 days, and I just decided there was various items. Some I'm going to show you, some I don't have with me, but that I decided not to carry anymore. I just had too much going on, especially with vlogging every day, to use it, and it was a little bit complicated. And then I read stories where it has to be at a low temperature, and it was cold at night but hot in the day. So I ended up not wanting to mess with it. But so that's number one. Okay, so number two is something that was given to me right before my hike, and I think the premise of it's great. It's a Rode mic, R-O-D-E, is made in Australia. This is called the video mic model, and what it does is it comes out, this part plugs into my iPhone, and this is obviously a dead cat to help for the wind noise. I tried it for a while. The problem I had with my old iPhone 10 was it comes with a plug-in. It's hard to see, I know, but a plug-in to go into the end of my phone, but my phone case wouldn't let this seat all the way, so I bought an extender on Amazon. It's an extender, it plugs onto this, extends it about a ½ inch, and it was able to plug into my phone then, but it became very suspect and wobbly. Even on here it's wobbly, and so all the pieces and parts were loose. So if I was walking and trying to talk, it would actually just fall out. And I noticed a little bit better sound quality, not a lot, but it seems like my new iPhone 11 has great sound, and it actually buffers the wind a lot more. But I will say I just now took off this little extender and plugged in the Rode mic itself into my phone, and it fits fine with the case. So I may try it a little more, but for now, I do not use it, and I found that it was just extra space. You can see how big it is. I tried to keep this in the little belt on my waist belt, and it just took up the whole pocket. So yeah, I sent that home. So that's number two. All right, so number three is a Sea2summit Pop-Up Cup. Now, I watched all of Dixie's videos, and I never had one of these, and I got it. I picked one up last second and brought it and never used it. I found that my titanium pot is fine. I was gonna make coffee every day in it in the mornings, and if you guys know a little bit of that story, but I ended up just cold soaking coffee, and I ended up just not using it, so I sent that back. So that's number three. All right, item number four is this giant tripod. I actually don't know the brand. I got it on Amazon. There's a million of these things out there. What's nice about this, it bends. When I was new at vlogging, this helped wrap around trees and things like that. For one, you can see it's physically big. I had a hard time putting it anywhere on me when I was hiking. And if you know now, I have the Ultra Pod, which I'll show here, which is the tripod I use now. Yeah, so it's not particularly light, it's bulky. And an older one I had that I actually used on trail for a while before I actually got on my through hike, but just when I get out in the desert and go on the PCT, just fell apart and broke after a while. So I was worried about the beating it up on a through hike, what it would do. So yeah, that is number four. So number five is the GSI Java Drip Coffee Maker. And here's a picture of it right here. And if you guys ever saw any of my old videos, I used that forever, for probably a couple years or so, and really loved it. But it's good for weekend trips, not for through hiking. I would actually get so anal and organized, I would get a stack size Ziploc and get a coffee filter, put my coffee grounds in there, fold that up nice and neat in the bag, and then put a couple of sugars and some powdered creamer, and I'd have it all ready. But I found that I ended up in the mornings with any weekends it was okay, but when I was through hiking, I didn't want to take the time, as you guys know. I would just put it in my chest bottle here, put the couple of Via coffees in here, and just drink it black, and just it would be diluted enough to where it didn't taste bad. And I just don't want to take the time to do that. And also, I found that the Ziplocs leak sometimes, and all that coffee drippings and all that stuff became a mess. So, but anyway, that's what I don't have anymore. That's number five. All right, number six is my Columbia Balaclava. Again, another last minute I don't know, panic thing I picked up. If you can see, it's got reflective, like foil, not metal, but foil type material on the inside, reflects your own body heat. It's very warm. I got this last minute because we had a lot of storms before I went March 26th last year, but then it was super nice. The whole time it was in the desert was nice, but I will say the first 10 days it got down in the 30s every single night. You know, places got down to 28 when I was at Fuller Ridge above Idlewild. So it was very, very cold. So I just, you know, I had a new quilt, but my head is exposed, and I wasn't sure if the beanie would be enough. So I thought, well, I'll get this, and then I'll send it back once I'm done with it. But a couple things. Well, the main thing was this was so tight. It's the right size, supposedly. It was so tight, it literally was crushing my skull. So it was so uncomfortable, it wasn't worth it. So again, that's something I sent back after 1 week at Warner Springs. So yeah, that's number six. Okay, number 7 is my old Sawyer Squeeze and my newer Sawyer Squeeze Micro, which is something I bought came out right before my thru hike last year. Was really, really happy with it, but after I think so I did 7 days to Warner Springs, took a 0. So my 9th day I started hiking out of there, and I went up this river. It had been raining, so the water was a little silty, and I found this out. So almost every single person had this problem afterwards. I had not tested it. This was such a good product that I didn't worry about this, and it's the same filter essentially, but smaller. And I filtered some water at the last water source before I went up to Mike's place, and it was about a 10-mile carry with no water, and the water was silty, and my filter plugged up, and I, for the life of me, could never back flush it. I back flushed and back flushed to try to knock all the stuff out of there, could not get it to unplug. So the flow rate all the way to mile 444, which is KOA Acton. So from like mile 115 to 444, I use this thing, and we had a water source. This thing's barely dribbling. Imagine when you're trying to get 6 liters of water, and everybody else is getting their water, standing there looking at me. I'm like, I'm trying, and it was wearing out my hands and my wrists. So yeah, I sent that back, and what I got was the Katadyn Be Free. Let me get that for you. And I just went blank on the bag, but I'll put it here below. But the bag I got, but the filter I got, I went to the Katadyn Be Free, the flow rate. And the reason why I did this, if you guys watched my thru hike, I was with Bart, and he had this setup, and I loved it. So this is the Katadyn Be Free filter. That's the filter right there. You can replace these filters, but you actually just buy a new one. This is only $24, and then you buy the bag to go with it. So this is a 3-liter bag. So I bought a bigger. You can buy 1, 2, and 3 liters. I bought the bigger one specifically for a thru hiking in case I really had a long water carry with, you know, which we did. We had many that were close to 30 miles, but yeah. So these two go together. But that's my filter now, and it's the Katadyn Be Free. Okay, number 8 is a small leather journal and a pencil. It's still in the bag that I had it in. And yeah, so my plan was a little leather bound book, really small, lined paper with a pencil. I figured I could sharpen this with my knife. The theory was I created this graph kind of in here. I wanted to keep track of, I wanted to have this master list at the end of my hike. How many bears, how many snakes, how many this, how many that. I wanted to keep track of, you know, pairs of shoes, socks, like everything I went through, everything I saw. I wanted to create like a chart and just check off. Every time I saw a bear, check it off, whatever. And then I wanted to do a small journal every day, just saying, you know, the date. I wanted to put the mile marker I started and ended, and anything significant or anything that happened. Just a few sentences, maybe a paragraph. But I have like 4 days in here. I'm just looking right now. I haven't looked at this since the hike, but I just stopped. I was, you know, hiking all that time and trying to set up camp, and then I'm vlogging all day, and then in my tent I was editing all night, and so like literally I was busy with all the rest of the people just went to bed when we got to camp. I was there vlogging. After vlogging, I was editing, and so I just decided it was too much, so I sent that back. All right, so number 9 is the Nock Vecto bag. No complaints about this. Overall, it worked pretty well. If you guys know anything about this, I have the newer model that they actually sent me to try. This just slides off here, and the benefit to this, unlike other bags, is you can just scoop up the water, right? You pinch this tight like this. Pinch it tight, I'm not gonna do it now, and then put your filter on here, and then you squeeze your water into your bottles. Never had a problem with Nock, still didn't, but at the time, what happened too was when, after 8 days, my filter clogged up, and I was looking at other filters and trying to figure out what I was gonna do. I told you I went from mile like 115 to 444 with a clogged up filter. It was a pain in you know what, and I got the new one. I ended up, what happens is the when I got the new Katadyn filter, bee-free filter, this threaded part is wider than the knock one. The knock fits the Sawyers, but this is wider. So there was only certain bags, and this bag fits this just perfectly. So I got this bag because I like the capacity. It wasn't anything about knock. Later on, knock came out with a larger threaded bag for this filter because they realized how popular these are. So, but at the time, I went to REI and I got this and I got this, and I was set because I was in the middle of a through hike, so I didn't have time to shop around. And I've been really happy with this so far, so no complaints. I don't have any plans on switching right now. The flow rate's been great, and the bag holds a lot, so yeah, that's number 9. All right, our last one, number 10, and yes, is an Ace bandage, and a huge one. I carried this thing. It's not very heavy, but it's huge, as you can see. Now, you know, too big for something you may or may not ever use. And also, we found out later, I mean, I got shin splints over Idlewild, and then eventually broke my ankle. But I learned from my shin splints, and what I carried instead of this, and I still to this day will always carry, I have 6 or 8 pieces of KT tape, which I had when I broke my ankle, KT tape, and also I carry compression socks. The compression socks obviously are tight, they create blood flow, and help me at night when I was sleeping. I'd get my feet elevated, and then my feet and my ankle would be a little better in the morning. But that's what I carry in case I get shin splints again or any kind of lower extremity injury. So I highly recommend, especially the KT tape. And you know, the compression socks are very small. They're almost like nylons, and they ball up really small, so they don't take up much weight or space. So I would consider that if you're worried about that kind of thing. All right, so that's the top 10 things that I don't bring on backpacking trips anymore. I hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully you probably relate to some of those. But you know, we all started somewhere, and I definitely did, and I learned as I went. And remember, these are personal, so some of these things work for me now, or some of these things I have, you probably still have the Sawyer Squeeze. It's very, very popular. So anyway, it's all personal preference, and there's no way to really learn what you like until you use them and get out there. So anyway, I hope that was informational and informative, and thanks for watching. And until next time, see you down the trail.